Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Michael Yu. I'm a second year dental student at Western University in Pomona, California, and I am joined by our class representative, Andrew Zufall. There's so many things that we want to talk about, but for this first half of the video, we're going to focus a little bit on the coronavirus and how it's affected our education. But before we go into that, Andrew, if you can introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. Really excited to be talking with you. I know we get to talk a lot at school, but it's fun to get to be on your YouTube channel and get to be a part of this part of your life. So yeah, thanks for having me. Like you said, my name is Andrew. I'm a second year student along with Michael. And I, as he alluded to, am our class curriculum representative. And so not all dental schools have that. So briefly what that is, it's a really cool opportunity where our college picks one person from the class to be a in-between from the faculty and the staff and the students. And so my job is to go back and forth and let the faculty know what the students need out of the curriculum, from quizzes to tests to homework assignments, and then also go to the students and let them know where the faculty are coming from when they make decisions. So it's pretty unique. It's actually one of the things that attracted me to WesternU in the first place, was that they care so much about the students and how they're doing that they would make this position. So I do that for our class, really happy to do it. It gives me a chance to get to know all the students really well. It gives me a chance to get to know the faculty well, so I enjoy doing it. I also go to WesternU with my wife, Lindsay, who's a vet student. She's a second year veterinary student. And then my younger brother, Blake, is also a student here at WesternU, and he is a first year medical student in the DO program. So the Zufall family is all at WesternU together.
You have a sort of dynasty going on.
Yeah, we're trying. We have to have some success in order to be called a dynasty. So we'll see. We'll see if we keep doing well. Yeah. But we all go to Western together. And then outside of Western, some of the things about me is my wife and I have a dog. And so every morning I get to walk the dog. That's kind of one of my hobbies. I like rock climbing. I like biking. I road bike, mountain bike. So all of my hobbies are things that get me outside. So when I'm not studying, I'm usually trying to get outside and get some fresh air.
Yeah, with that said, you might be one of the most active dental students that I know. Like all the time on Instagram, you're always showing, you know, you're on some bike ride with Ryder, your dog, or you went hiking, or you went on some long road trip. It's really fun to see.
Yeah, man, I love dental school, and I love studying, and I love the homework and the learning, and all of that's awesome. But the way I get some relaxation is by doing something outside and kind of let my brain rest, because doing homework all day is rough. And so getting that hour to go for a run with Blake, or maybe go for a bike ride and listen to a podcast, is really good for the soul, I guess you could say.
Right. And it's really only 1 hour out of your entire day, so I feel like it's doable, right?
Yeah, it's doable. You have to be very committed to it. That's been one of my goals this year, was to be more committed to my physical and mental health. And so I've just made sure I carve out an hour to do some sort of physical activity, because I found it helps me be more successful in school. Surprisingly, taking some time away from school actually has improved my schoolwork.
I mean, so with that said, we're now 1 week into this online curriculum, this coronavirus online curriculum. How has that been for you? And are you still able to do, your hour of exercise outside of school? Are you still allowed to leave your house, essentially?
Yeah. So right now I'm living down here in Southern California. I'm in Upland, California, which is east of LA. So I'm not in LA County. LA County has the most strict rules right now about leaving your house and whatnot. I'm in San Bernardino County, where the rules are a little bit lighter. So I am able to leave the house. I am able to go for walks, go for runs, bike rides. But the whole COVID-19 situation has actually given me more time to exercise and do my hobbies. And so, for example, this morning I had almost an hour where I walked the dog.
Oh, wow.
Because I had nothing else to do, And then during the school week, I've had plenty of time to get extra time out on the bike or extra long runs, because I'm not having to wake up early and get ready, drive to school, park, walk to school. So all of that part of the school day is gone. And so you add all that up, and I probably have gained an hour to 2 hours a day where I have free time, and I'm still having the same amount of schoolwork and the same amount of homework, but just the traveling and the waiting between classes and that kind of stuff is all gone. So while I wouldn't say I'm glad that we're doing this online thing,
right.
As far as like an exercise and like a hobby point of view, it's been kind of nice. Like the other day I went for like a 2-hour ride before class, and normally I would not have been able to do that.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because just taking that commute out of the day, it really gives you a lot of time.
Yeah, it's definitely been different. The online delivery is obviously you kind of have to learn how to learn again. It's a different way of learning. And then you have to have a lot more self-discipline, because now that we have the free time, it'd be really easy to binge Tiger King in one day and study. But I've focused on making a list every day. I have a note on my computer that has every day of the week, and then I type every time I get an assignment. I choose what day I'm going to do it on. I put it on that day, and then before I go to bed, I make sure I finish the list for the day. So maybe I work really hard in the morning and I finish the whole list Saturday morning before lunchtime, and now the rest of the day is free. Or maybe I go for a run with my brother and watch a TV show or something before lunch, and then maybe I do my list after lunch. But I just make sure I do the list, and as long as I get the list done each day, I know I'm gonna keep learning, keep getting my work done.
Just getting that routine kind of set in place and really make a schedule for ourselves, right? Which has been interesting. I think the coronavirus there's some silver linings aside from the devastation that has impacted. There are some small silver linings that have come out of it.
And I found it's been really good for me to focus on those silver linings, because it's very easy to read the news every day and think of the doom and gloom, and it is impacting millions of people, and people are dying, and there's no way around that fact. But I've just tried to focus on what I can control, and what I can control is my day-to-day routine, making sure I'm taking care of dental school, and then making sure I'm doing my part to help other people by staying socially distant and staying at home. And so by focusing on the things that I can control, I found a lot more peace in the whole situation and been less stressed out about it. Because if I just read the news all day and just dwelled on those negatives, I think it'd be really easy to kind of sit in a negative place and feel like the coronavirus would take its toll on you mentally, even if you're not physically affected by it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yesterday was actually the first day I stayed away from the news. I've been so engulfed in everything that's happening, but definitely good point. Just making a mental effort to stay sane during this whole thing, really. Kind of on that note, there was something that I wanted to ask you as dental student to dental class representative. I did get a lot of questions on Instagram about how this is going to affect our education as far as going into clinic. And as far as I know, that's been delayed a little bit. And, there's really no end in sight for this.
Yeah, well, as far as like a curriculum standpoint, I've had a couple meetings with faculty and we've discussed this. The plan right now, like for your viewers and your followers, is they're backloading all of the didactic lecture-based stuff onto us right now. So they took the rest of the spring semester and a good chunk of summer, and they gave us all of those lectures and homework to be done over this, social distance time. Right. So between April and probably some of May, we're going to do a lot of lectures and a lot of didactic learning. So the plan is, if we can get back into sim clinic at the end of May or the very beginning of June, when we're technically still in spring semester, we can have like all day hand skills and have no lecture. And then if it does kind of bleed into our summer semester when we were supposed to be starting clinic, they kind of, I think, are planning kind of like a boot camp, like a couple weeks where they delay clinic a few weeks and have a really intense, like all day hand skill, maybe like Mondays we're in there all day, Tuesdays the D1s are in there all day. Whatever they decide to do to break up the sim lab, we're going to be doing a lot. And so what they're trying to do is make sure that our course hours don't change. We still have the same number of lecture hours, the same number of hand skill hours. They're just going to be kind of blocked instead of interwoven like usual.
Yeah, which is something that we've always talked about doing, just having one day full of clinical hours, or maybe one day where we're all in support lab or sim lab, just doing straight hand skills. So yeah, it might.
Yeah, I know personally I like that. I would rather have 8 a.m. to lunch, do crowns, eat lunch, come back 1 to 5, work on some class 2s, call it a day. Just mentally, it's easier for me to stay in that zone instead of switching back and forth.
Yeah, same for me. Like going to class, and then some days we have a final or something right after sim lab, and like, man, I can't do that. But
That's
yeah,
hard.
yeah. And in a sense, on that note about didactic hours, I feel like Western U was kind of almost. I don't want to give Realize It any what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to praise Realize It, but it kind of seems like Western U was ready for all of this because we do have a semi-online curriculum.
Yeah. I'll praise it for you so you don't have to.
Okay. All right.
Realize It, for all its goods and all its bads, has been very useful right now, because imagine if you went to a dental school that had zero online curriculum, how hard it would be for them to all of a sudden load all of it onto the internet.
Yeah.
But because our flipped classroom, particularly with our dentistry classes, the Essentials of Clinical Dentistry course, because it was already flipped, all they had to do was take the content reinforcements, which other schools will call lectures, just put those on Zoom, but all the homework, all the actual material delivery didn't have to change. So, I mean, we got pretty lucky that our school was already doing that and was equipped to quickly mobilize and change the curriculum to make it fully online instead of half and half. So yeah, Realize It can have its downfall occasionally, but in the time of a global pandemic and you can't leave your house, it sure came in handy.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, Realize It is our online platform, is what they like to call it, where we go online, we have these modules that we go through, read through them, and at the end we're quizzed on that topic. And yeah, as Andrew was saying, all of that stayed the same. Like every weekend I'm just catching up on that reading. Or if you're like Andrew, who's really good about staying on top of his reading, he'll do it throughout. No. Yeah. But yeah, it's really definitely come in handy.
I think Realize It and online learning is at its best when you do it the way that Western wants us to do it. You do all the work at home, you read the material, you have a general understanding. So then when you go to these content reinforcements, they're not lectures, they're actual like discussions where you have secondary questions. You're not asking primary questions, you're asking the deeper questions. And then you have a more valuable discussion with the faculty. So it's more useful for your time and for the faculty's time. Yeah. And so when done correctly, it's really valuable. And I think this Corona time is going to kind of force us to actually do it that way and really do our online work and then come to these online Zoom lectures kind of prepared to have more of a group discussion as opposed to like a lecture. So we'll see. I personally don't mind the flipped classroom model, but I know people who don't like it are probably really struggling right now. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, so hopefully everything works out. And I feel like, everyone's doing the best they can right now.
And I think that's what you have to do. Like during this uncertain time as a student, you have to do your absolute best. Like give a full effort to all your homework, help each other out. If students and your friends have questions, like always be willing to help out, be willing to share materials, and like just do your best to kind of support one another and make sure you're taking care of your own business. So that way, when things go back to normal, you don't feel like you're catching up. You feel like you can just step right into it and continue as normal.
Definitely. And I'm sure we're all looking forward to that day.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be a party.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna end the first part of the video right there because that sums it up really nicely for us. Really taking care of each other, even when we're social distancing, and making sure that we're all mentally and physically and mentally sane throughout this whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Next part of the video, we're gonna talk about Andrew's really journey into dental school because he has a very interesting one as well. So tune back in for that. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Be sure to check out Andrew's part 2 video where we talk about his GPA and journey into dental school.